Hello, welcome to Food at Knole Academy. Here we study food preparation and nutrition. When we do practical lessons, each student is assigned to a unit. Today, we're going to show you how to make a pizza made with a yeast-based dough. Here you can see the equipment that you are going to need to make the pizza and the ingredients. We have strong bread flour, water, yeast, and a choice of toppings. You can decide which toppings you would like to have on your pizza, as we all have our own favourites. We're going to need a chopping board, weighing scales, a tin opener if you're using something like sweet corn, a knife, a fish slice, a rolling pin, a bowl, a plate and a sieve. You need to sieve the flour into the bowl. So carefully tip the flour into the sieve, like this, and then gently pat it on the side here until the flour comes through the sieve. We've got 250 grams of strong plain flour here. There we are, so that's done. I'm then going to add in the yeast. I have one packet of yeast, which is about 7 grams. So stir in the yeast, and to feed the yeast, I'm going to put in some sugar. Okay, so a teaspoon of sugar and a pinch of salt. I then need a spoon to mix everything through so the yeast is evenly divided amongst the flour. I'm now going to make a well, and I'm going to put in some water, about 125 ml of water, which I have pre-measured. Add in your water. I'm not going to add all the water at once, because sometimes, depending on the type of flour that you have, you may find that it absorbs more or less water. So for example, if we have brown flour, because it has more fibre, it's going to take more water. And then gently mix the water in. Now I can see here that I'm going to need to add some more water into that because it hasn't come into a dough. So add in your water and mix and bring it into a dough. Now you can do this on the table, or you can do that in a bowl. Mix it. And then when you're ready, we can take the dough out and we can knead it on the table. I'm just going to put a slight bit more water in there so I can get all of that through. And then we're going to have to knead this on the table for about 10 minutes because we want to develop the gluten. Now you'll learn when you're in your food lessons that in flour there are 2 proteins, a protein called gluten and a protein called gliadin. And when they are mixed together, when we add water, a chemical reaction happens and they make gluten. Now what we need to do is to stretch that. So using the heel of your hand, push it down and bring it back. Now it takes about 10 minutes to actually develop the gluten, to make the dough stretchy and to make it elastic. So you need that with your hands for about 10 minutes. Now at the moment you can see it's not very stretchy, it's not very elastic, and it's not very silky. So what we have to do is to knead that. Sometimes you'll need a little bit of flour on the table to do that, but not too much flour, otherwise you start to alter the proportions. So knead it with your hand until it becomes silky and stretchy and elastic. Once you've kneaded your dough for 10 minutes, it will feel silky and it will be much more elastic, and that is the result of the gluten, making it stretchy and making it elastic. And that's the quality that we're looking for in the dough to be able to roll it out. So put it onto your work surface, and then you can pat that out by hand, or if if you have a rolling pin at home, you could use a rolling pin. With a rolling pin, a tiny bit of flour to dust it, push it down and then roll. Okay, lift it up and turn it. I'm just going to put a slight bit of flour under there so it doesn't stick to the table, and roll it out to the size that you want it. And it's up to you what shape you'd like. If you'd like a round pizza or a square pizza, depending. If you want a round pizza, just with your hands put it into shape. Okay, and then transfer it onto your tray. So I can lift that up and put it into a floured tray. My pizza base back again. To bake it into that round shape, I can just pinch up the edges, and that will give the pizza a ring. Okay. My next job now is to put on my tomato puree. Now, in terms of the bases, if you don't feel confident enough yet to make a yeast-based dough, you could actually just do this on a pita bread. This is a pita bread here, which we have bought, and that is an alternative base. It could even be, for example, a slice of toast, a piece of bread you could make a pizza on, or you could make it on a tortilla wrap, or on a bagel, or it would be really good on a baguette, cut in half and topped with the toppings. So basically, put your puree over, or passata, or even just fresh chopped tomatoes. And taking a spoon or a knife, you can spread that over, taking care to go just up to the rim of your pizza. Onto the pita bread, exactly the same thing. I've chosen a wholemeal pita bread here because it has more fibre in, and it's healthy for our digestive system. So spread it over nice and neatly all the way to the edges. Okay, and my next job then is simply to add on my toppings. So I will add on some of my onions. I'll put it onto this one too, so onions on here. I can add my tomato. You can actually do nice pretty patterns on here. And plan out how you're going to do it. Some mushrooms. And some mushrooms onto this one. And I'll add some sweet corn, which will give a nice colour. So with my sweet corn, I'm just going to use a spoon here. You could use it. And just sprinkle the sweet corn over. This came out of a tin which I have drained. Sprinkle sweet corn neatly onto your pizzas. There we are. And then I am going to top with cheese. So cheese on here. And cheese is dairy and has lots of protein. These now need to go into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm going to decide how I'm going to cook the pizza. The yeast-based pizza will need to go into the oven about 200 degrees C, gas mark 6, for 15 minutes until the base is cooked through. The pita bread pizza, I have a decision. I could either put this under the grill or I can put it into the oven. Either option. My pizzas from the oven. I'm really happy. My yeast-based pizza has turned out as I wanted, and my pita bread pizza looks equally scrumptious. What I'm going to do now is just transfer my pizza into a box. If you were here on your transitional visit, you would take your pizza home in a box like this. Okay? You can close the lid And then we have this blank canvas here. Now what we would normally do is we would look at the nutritional content of your pizza. And we would look at the energy content, the fat, sugars, saturate and salt. You can design your own label for your pizza at home by listing your ingredients, how you would store your pizzas, if there are any allergens in there. And one of the allergens listed here is gluten. And we talked about the gluten which we found in the flour. So if you are wheat free, you wouldn't add gluten and you would use an alternative type of flour. This pizza can be safely kept for 2 days if it's kept refrigerated below 5 degrees, but I'm sure it's not going to last that long. I'd like to say goodbye from Knole Academy, but I hope it's not a goodbye and that I will see some of you in the future here when you join into Year 7. In Year 7 you'll all undertake food as part of your national curriculum, and into Year 7, 8 and 9.